Hi everybody, welcome to tonight's Taubmans live colour advice session. My name is Fiona. I'm just going to take myself off camera there. My name is Fiona, I'm the Taubmans colour specialist. It's fantastic to be back here for another evening of talking all things colour, certainly projects, and I'm here to talk about our wonderful portfolio of products that we have that have been designed to protect and beautify your space. So thank you very much for joining us this evening. As we always do, we are on screen for half an hour. I'll quickly let you know how we run these sessions. So as I just said, we are on screen for the first half an hour, and it is a fantastic opportunity for you to upload any questions that you do have. If you're embarking on a project and you'd like some, you'd love some help or some tips, happy to do our best to help you while we're live. If you're certainly looking for colour advice, you've come to the right place. We can certainly help you with your colour conundrums. And as I said before, we can talk products. We've got fantastic products to help you bring to life your spaces. So for the first half an hour on screen, great opportunity for you to upload any questions that you do have. If you do have images that you're wanting to share, unfortunately, while we're live, Facebook won't allow you to upload any images, but what happens after the first half an hour is once we go off screen, I sit behind the computer for a further half an hour or so, and that is a great time then for you to upload images, and I will do my best to have a look at them and to give you some advice. So the way, I've got a really itchy nose here, just excuse me. The way, I'm trying not to sneeze, the way we run the sessions, we look at what's happening on all of our social media channels, and we look for questions that are frequently asked. So we like to keep it real. So we certainly like to bring to life, a lot of things that everybody's asking. So keeping it really relative, keeping it real so that it can help you at home. So I'm going to kick off this evening and begin. We do have a couple of questions here, and I'm going to start with Maddie. Maddie sent through a question, and she said, "Hi Fiona," and I'll read it out. "We are trying to pick colours for the exterior of our house, render, eaves and garage doors. We have a dune roof, gutters and surf mist fascia. Our windows are textural white and the house is southeast facing." I have attached a photo of our house. Thank you very much, Maddie. Lovely image that you've sent. I've had a great look at it, so thank you. The yellow circles are where stone cladding will be going. We will have a timber front door. Our balcony balustrade will be knotwood timber look, aluminium battens in the colour sycamore, and I've also had a look at that as well, a lovely colour. And we're trying to achieve a modern Mediterranean look. Inside we plan on using whites and warm earthy neutral colours. That's very much the trend at the moment. It looks fantastic. We started the painting the house in Pebble Bay Quarter as we liked the colour, but it just didn't work with the windows and roof colouring. So looking forward to the live chat tonight. Thanks. Thanks, Maddie, for your detailed query. That really helps, and the image certainly helps as well. It's fantastic if you can send through images because it gives us the opportunity to have a really good look at the dwelling facade, etc., and certainly enables us to be able to help you even further. Sorry, my nose is just really irritating. Okay, so let's have a look. So I did have a look as well at your texture white. So, and looking at it, it looks very similar to Dover white. So I'm going tonight, Maddie, work with June, Surf Mist and Dover white as three colours that you have there, and then help you with an overall colour. So the best thing I can do here is ensure, I'm going to start with ensuring that the tone that we're looking for, so beautiful, you're achieving that modern Mediterranean aesthetic. So I'm going to work with the June to begin with, just to have a look for a tone, just ensuring that all of these tones are going to work really, really well together. Because June can be quite, I love June. June's a fantastic colour. It can be described as a warm type of grey, but it can sometimes throw, depending on the light, it can sometimes throw a little bit of pink, etc. So it's really important that we get that right tone to work with it. And my lighting here as well is probably, look, we are lit up like a Christmas tree here, I won't lie, but, that's quite nice. So, excuse me, there is a colour called Just making sure that that works really nicely with your surf mist. It's certainly going to work really nicely with the windows as well. There's a colour called, by Taubmans obviously, Wisp O Smoke. Now I'm going to hold that up and I'll pop it up against your June so you can see how well it works. Like, they work really, really well together. Obviously, as I said, we lit up like a Christmas tree in here, and when you're looking at a screen with colour, it can sometimes, it's not always true to colour, that's for sure, depending on your pixelations in the screen, etc. So I always recommend grabbing a sample pot. So that's one colour I'd certainly have a look at. Let me just continue on for you, and let's just see what else we can find. So I could take you slight, I don't want to take you too grey, but we could go, that's probably a little bit too cool. Let's just have a look here. So what did you say you went? You went Pebble Bay Quarter. So you went quite light, yeah. It's, you could have, did you look at, be interested, Maddie, to see whether you actually looked at Pebble Bay as well. Pebble Bay is a really, really fantastic colour with June, and it sits, Pebble Bay Quarter still sits, but Pebble Bay actually sits even nicer with Surf Mist and Dover White. But I would say out of all of the ColourBond colours, June's probably the one, because it can go either way, as I was saying before. So it can be a little bit, sometimes a little bit tricky just to get that right tone to sit really well with it. So I don't want to go too grey, and I don't want to go too sort of pinky toned either. Sorry for everyone else. There's a lot of questions coming through, but I will get to you, I promise. You know what you could also look at? This is a lovely colour. And this sits really well with your other tones as well. And it's going to have putting those together. And I'll put it up against with the white as well. I don't know whether you can see that. It's a colour called Quill. That looks fantastic with June as well. And then obviously I'm using that Dover White to emulate, what was the texture of white? But that works really, really well. Again, I would be recommending testing a sample pot just to ensure that it's going to work in your environment and on your facade. And obviously the other thing too to consider is the stone or the cladding. Let me have another read here. What's going on around the circles? Stone cladding. So I guess the stone cladding as well is going to help to determine the colour. So actually, probably before I go too much more into the colours, do you have, can you, Maddie, shoot me through an image or give me an idea of the stone cladding, because some of the tones that exist within that cladding may be something that we can draw on as well. But I've given you a couple so far, but if you let me know the cladding, then maybe we can just completely fine tune it, so to speak. There's another colour as well, which looks lovely, and especially if your cladding's going to be slightly warmer, if you're using sort of, you know, like that, the sandstone sort of look, paving cladding, if you like. There's another colour called Manor Born, which looks slightly warmer, but again, if I'm imagining the look that you're wanting to create, this sort of tone is going to work really well. Anyway, come back to me and I'll give you some further colour advice. Thanks. Okay, so I do have another question here from Lani. Thank you very much for your question. And you're saying, hi, I'm looking for a wall coloured that is white with slight pink undertones. My feature door is in malted milk, and in another room in the house I've used Arabian sands on a feature wall. I've tried cinnamon sugar in half strength, but it is a bit too yellow creamy for my liking. It doesn't complement these feature colours well. I definitely don't want anything grey based. No worries, let's just have a look here. So you do have Malted Milk and Arabian Sands. What do we have here? Okay, there's Malted Milk. Oh, Malted Milk's a beautiful colour. Let me just see if I can find Arabian Sands. Okay, so these are the colours, just for anybody at home that's wondering what colours are we looking at. Let me just pull these out. I need 3 hands, honestly. Okay, so they're the 2 colours. The first 2 at the top here are the colours that we're working with here. Malted Milk and Arabian Sand. So you're wanting a white that has that soft sort of pinky undertone. Okay, so, and you've tried cinnamon sugar in half strength. I know cinnamon sugar, probably, yeah. If you're wanting a white, I'm thinking to keep it this would be, Cotton Touch would be a really nice white to pair back with the 2 colours that you have selected. Let me just have a look here. It has, depending on what you put with it, like when I look at it on the blade, out of all of the whites that I have, it tends to have a slight pinky undertone. And I'm imagining that with it put with something like your Malted Milk, the slight pink undertone is going to sort of come to life, if you like. It also works really nicely with Arabian Sands. It's going to be hard to see it on the screen because of how light it is, but that would be something that I would certainly consider. So it's a colour called Cotton Touch. And if I pop it, let me just see. If I put it all together here, you can see it sits really lovely with those 2 colours that you have selected. That would be one choice for sure. And then anything else that has that pinky undertone tends to be a lot more saturated in colour, so to speak. Let me just see what else I can find here. I don't know. Let's have a look. Yeah, way too much strength of colour, that's for sure. So let me just see. This is me looking at all the pinky sort of tones. Oriental Pearl is another one. I think that may have a little bit more of a purpley undertone. Let's just see how it pairs back with these. Yeah, that's too purple. I'd say that's the best bet. I would give that one a go. The rest are probably a little bit too much cream. Obviously some of them are too white. You could go into sort of a neutral style white, which would work really, really well with the 2 colours as well. But if you're wanting a slight pink undertone, have a look at Cotton Touch. I think that would be the best bet. Yeah, I hope that helps. If not, pop something else into the feed and I'll certainly do my best to answer or to give you some more selections as well. Thanks very much. Okay, what else do I have here? I've got a lot of questions that are coming through. Let's see what we can find here. Okay, so hi Rajesh, thank you very much for joining us, and apologies if I haven't said your name correctly. I'll read out your question. We are building a Hampton style home and are confused with the colour selections. The window frame would be one of these colours, so shale grey, woodland grey or monument. Please advise exterior colour which can give greyish or bluish tone. Natural white, snowy mountains, tranquil retreat, Milton Moon, timeless grey. Please advise interior colour something in white. We'll have light colour tiles and a white roof, and your tapware is gunmetal. Okay, so if you're building a Hampton style home and your window frame colours would be one of these colours, shale grey, woodland grey or monument, I'd probably go for the shale grey if you're going for a Hampton style home. I think that something like that would work really well. Woodland grey tends to be a little bit more, it's still a grey as it suggests, but it tends to have a little bit more of a greeny sort of undertone. And then your monument would work well as well. Monuments, best way to describe it is it's a charcoal, effectively. But when you think of Hamptons, a lot of Hampton style homes tend to have soft grey blues, a lot of whites, lighter tones are used to create that facade. So you could look at shale grey, and then if you were to look for a greyish or bluish tone, exterior colour which can give a greyish or bluish tone, let's have a look for a lovely colour that's going to sit with shale grey, for example. Depends on how deep you want the colour to be as well. Let's have a look. There's a few different choices you could go for. Okay, so that's beautiful. So you could do shale grey windows, and then you could on the overall facade could be something like, you could go for a lighter tone, which is a colour called Thin Ice. Or you could go for the next one down, which is Grey Gamut. And when I put shale grey against it, they sit together really, really well. So something like that would look beautiful. You could offset that with a lovely white as well. So the secret to a wonderful aesthetic for an exterior is the balance of colour. So I would look, colour tends to work really well when you're using 3 colours. Or even 3 tones of a colour. So when I'm talking 3 tones of a colour, you may select something like shale grey, and we can dilute that down and then we can intensify that. So you've got just varying tones, or varying intensities if you like as well. So I would suggest having a look at Thin Ice, Grey Gamut, and then obviously looking for shale grey, and then pairing back with a beautiful soft white. And let me have a look here. And a white that's going to work. The thing is, when you're putting whites outside, they tend to bleach out in the sun. And what I mean by that is they tend to dilute down. So don't be afraid when you're using whites externally to have a white that has a little bit more substance or a little bit more undertone to it. So Grey Gamut, shale grey, and something like, I've got a colour there called Aspen Snow, which is kind of a neutral style white, and they all work beautifully together, and they're going to give you that Hamptons aesthetic that we're talking about. So that would work really, really well. And then for an interior, if you're going to have light colour tiles and a white roof inside, so white ceiling, depending on how light you want to go, and anybody that's watched this before will know exactly the white I'm going to go for. There is a colour called Crisp White, and I should be able to find it because it's my favourite. It's our #1 white. It's beautiful, and something like Crisp White for your interior is going to help you to create that wonderful Hamptons feel. Or if you want something that has a little bit more colour, you could go for another colour here, which is called Alpine Snow, which is the third color down there. And when you're creating a Hampton style home, Alpine Snow is fantastic. If you're using something like a Calcutta marble or something like that that has that wonderful vein running through, Alpine Snow tends to pick up on the vein. It looks beautiful. So that would be what I would use to create that Hamptons aesthetic that you're looking for. I hope that helps. If you're after any more information, please pop something else into the feed. I'll be very happy to assist you. Thanks. Okay, hi Joanne, thank you very much for joining us. You're saying hi. I'm looking at exterior paint, 2-story home, either Miss Universe or Tahira White, with a cedar wood look garage door and monument roof and gutters. Any suggestions? Sure, so Miss Universe or Tahira White are very, very light whites. They're going to work with a cedar look garage door, they're going to work with a monument roof, etc. The only thing I would suggest is if you're going to use a colour that is extremely light like that for exterior application, test it first, because as I just mentioned before, when you're using whites externally, they have a tendency when they're in full sun to dilute out, or as I've heard me say before, bleach out. And so it's not, when I say bleach out, it's just the sun on the colour and the colour looks a lot lighter. So your whites, if they don't have enough substance in them, can become really glary and really hard to look at. So I always recommend doing 2 things. So once you pick your colour that you like, get yourself a large piece of cardboard, 1 metre by 1 metre square, brushing out 3 coats. So grab yourself a sample pot of the colour that you like, brush out 3 coats. The first coat is going to aid as an undercoat, and then the second 2 are going to be your top coats, giving you adequate coverage to ensure that you can really test that colour properly. Once it's dry, put it out in full sun, move it around different areas of the exterior of your home to ensure that you're happy with the colour. Because when full sun is on whites that are really light, it can be extremely glary. So, and the other thing that I recommend when looking for whites is our number 1 white for exterior application is a colour by Colorbond called Surf Mist. You might look at that and go, that looks like it's got way too much colour in it. What happens when it's put out in full sun, as I just mentioned, it dilutes out. So when I'm working with whites for external application, I look at something that is called LRV. So every colour, whether it be white or black, etc., has an LRV. And what that refers to is light reflectance value. And so what it means is, so if you were to look at a scale of colour with black being 0 and white being 100, looking at mid-tone grey, mid-tones are about 50, so then you keep going up. Surf Mist, believe it or not, sits at around 67. So when you keep going up that scale and you keep going up to say 89, 90, etc., you are using really bright whites that when in full sun can be really glary. So when I work with whites and when I'm helping everybody select whites for exterior application, I use the LRV and I look at whites that sit around about 65 to 75. Sometimes I'll push it out to 80, but I always test it first by way of a sample pot. So if you're selecting whites and you're unsure, if you hop onto our website, which is www.taubmans.com.au, and then you'll be brought to a home page, and then you can click on or hover over the drop down menu which says colours, and then you can go down to, it will say colour swatches. If you click on that, that takes you to our colour swatch shop. And the reason I'm taking you there is there's a fantastic world of colour at the swatch shop, and when you click on a colour, what it does is it brings up information around that colour. And the one thing that we're looking for, or we're talking about now, is what's called LRV, which is your light reflectance value. So you can search a colour, look at the light reflectance value, and that's going to help you to decide on whether you think that white's going to be too bright, etc. for you. So look at the LRV. It's a fantastic, look, for me, it's a fantastic tool that I leverage to ensure that, I'm helping select the right whites. Because when you're looking at a swatch or even just a little color card that you can collect from colour chips, sorry, that you can collect from, say, a Bunnings colour wall. You know, you're looking at a small piece of colour and you're looking at it, if you're inside at that colour wall, you're looking at what's supposed to be like a daylight globe. But the best way to test your colours for when you're using them for exterior application is to take the colours outside and have a look at them. And then obviously when you're looking at colours for interior, testing them inside. So certainly have a look at testing your colours. Look, you can look at Miss Universe Tahira White. I personally think that it might be a little bit light for exterior application. That's me personally. I'd even have a look at something like White House, Gazebo White, even looking at something like South Pole, and you might look at them and go, oh, they look like they've got too much colour, but when you brush them out and do your sample and take them outside, you'll be surprised at how much they change. I hope that helps. If you've got any further questions, pop something else into the feed. Thank you. Okay, Danny, what a great question. Sorry, I have got a terribly itchy nose. Oh, okay, so Danny is saying, when looking for a neutral colour, not white lol, what is the best way to narrow down the hundreds of choices? Main wall colour to be neutral with pops of feature colours around the house. Okay, so you can categorise white into 3 categories. So you've got, you've got a warm white, which tends to be a white that is more, let's just say, creamy for argument's sake. Then you've got a cool white, which tends to have more of a blue undertone, which looks cool. And then you've got that neutral undertone, which can be anything from the best way, well, I describe it as sort of a greeny grey, sort of beigey undertone. And I know you look at the colour wall and you go, wow, there are so many choices of whites, but you'll see that it is broken down into, you'll start with, let me just get this right. You'll start with more, I'm just trying to think the way it goes now. I think it's warm, oh no, it's cooler going into more, slightly going into neutral, then going down to warmer. There is one thing you can do. When you're standing there at the colour wall and you're trying to decipher the undertone of a colour, what I would recommend doing is doing 2 things. Either before you're going on your colour journey, taking with you a white piece of computer paper, or when you get to the colour wall, picking up a colour chip, looking for what's called a brilliant white colour chip. Brilliant white is our stock standard white that's in the can. I shouldn't say it's stock standard. It's a fantastic white. What makes our white so wonderfully white is that the paint contains a high amount of titanium dioxide, so it gives you that lovely white, and it helps to ensure that you've got fantastic opacity, so coverage, etc. And then from that, they put the tints in to create your warm, your neutral, your cool whites, etc. So taking a piece of white computer paper or grabbing a brilliant white colour chip will help you. So when you use your, let's just say the brilliant white colour chip, and then you're picking other colour chips off the wall, putting it against the white colour chip, the brilliant white colour chip, allows you to start to see the undertone. And then if you go and pick, say, you can see picking another one, putting it here, you might say, oh, that's got more of a blue undertone, or something you might go, you can really see that creamy undertone. Or then you've got something that looks that little bit more neutral. So you can start to see that undertone when you do that, because I completely understand if you put all of your colour chips together, it confuses you. Whereas if you go white or neutral onto that brilliant white, you'll start to see that undertone. That's how I recommend shopping for white or shopping for your neutral. The other thing you can do, fantastic colour card here, whites and neutrals. And what we've tried to do here is to help simplify the white journey, because we know how confusing it can be. So it starts off with more of your cooler tones here, going into more of your neutral tones, and then going into warmer tones over this side. So you can start to play with anything sort of within this space tends to be a little bit more neutral. Look, a great couple of more neutral tones to look at, things like South Pole, Aspen Snow, Presidential Suite, even going into alpine snow, etc. They're really good soft neutrals to start to work with. That's where I would start your not white journey, but your neutral journey if you're wanting something light and then you're wanting to pair back with feature colors. And working with a neutral style white or a or something that's got a little bit more color if you like, neutral allows you to start to add so many other colors. So a neutral is a fantastic, when I'm helping consumers looking at whites and they're not sure where to start, I always say start with more of a neutral based white or that neutral style tone. It's going to pair back really well with so many other colors, and it's going to pair back really well, for example, if you're building a home, renovating, and you're going out there and you're looking at tiles and all of the other elements that are going to help to create your space. That neutral style color is going to work extremely well. And and then if you're wanting to look for feature walls, just to give you a tip, green is being coined the new neutral, and I can see why. There are so many beautiful tones of green. Green is one of the most relaxing, peaceful sort of colors that you can use within your space. Lots of varying tones, but they work really, really well. Another color that has been coined as one of the new neutrals is going into those caramel tones, along with another color which is almost a nude within itself. So it is something, the best way to describe it is it sits between sort of pink and sort of that terracotta, so going into that nude sort of tone. That's also being coined as one of the new neutrals. So those types of colors work really well with more neutral style tones as well. So I hope that helps. I've got so many questions here. All right, I think what I'm going to do is, because I've got a lot of questions and I've gone over time, what I'll do is I'll take the rest of the questions offline and I'll sit back there for a while and continue to answer them for you. And now, as I said before, when I first started, now's the time. If you do have any images or anything that you would like to share with me, as soon as we stop streaming, pop them into the feed. Very easy, where you've been writing your questions. There's a little icon there where you can actually upload your image. Upload that and I can certainly have a look and offer some further assistance. So thank you very much, everybody. It's been a fantastic evening. It's gone so quick. I appreciate everybody coming here and looking for some colour advice. That's what we're here for. If you've got any questions, pop them in the feed again. And look, we'll be back here again next week, same time, same place. So until then, everybody, stay safe. And as I always say, happy painting. Thanks very much. Bye.